Hello, Grand Rising. Loving the technology today. Little bit behind schedule, but divine timing is always a beautiful blessing for learning and appreciating when things flow. So, my name is Karen Lisa. I'm here uh, in lieu of Transcending Ascension, but filling in to have our conscious creation panel here. And super excited and glad to be connecting with Don Rogers of the After Dark Show. And we were planning to talk a little bit about, the spiritual awakening experience and about our experiences and tips and advice as far as how to navigate the third dimensional physical realm with the jobs and the bills and that, but also keeping another firm foot in the fifth dimensional energy of creation, trust, love, and flow. So, ah, chaotic energy is awesome when you're just grounded and you see it for what it is. It's fine. It's learning. Ah, so my little thing is technology. Because I took a break for pretty much the last solid 5 years when everything kind of went topsy-turvy. So for me, my learning and my expansion where I'm working on throat chakra is getting my message out there. I've been doing the inner work relentlessly, and it's so much is bottled up. It's like, get it out, get it out. I'm like, okay, technology, resist, resist. But what you resist persists. So going with the flow, giving myself some divine grace, and lovely Dawn giving me divine grace and say, hey, we've got this. We go with the flow. And we're always exactly where we're meant to be. So welcome, Dawn. Good to see you. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. And I just have to go on record as saying I may have influenced this in some manner because anybody who's ever caught an episode, it's actually a rarity that I don't have some type of technical difficulty. Like I've been kicked off my own channel. I accidentally played a fart intro for two Christian authors. Like if it can go wrong, it usually does, and you rolled with it beautifully, and that's what keeps the positive flow of energy going is resisting the things that do try to change our trajectory energetically throughout the day. It really is about all how you handle it, and I think you handled it beautifully. So
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And I also do thank Transcending Ascension for her technical support and guidance and love as well. And especially for giving me this opportunity to, get myself out of find the flow with something that is new and different, unfamiliar to me. And that's such a great lesson to know is that we're not all alone. None of us are super perfect experts at everything the first time we try it. And obviously, we know how technology gets messed with and censorship and blah, blah. So, it's fine. We reach who we need to reach, and finding our tribe and maintaining our vibrational frequency is our power. And they're responding consciously when things are like, not what I expected. So, thank you so much, Don, for sharing that about the tech, because I kind of have
oh,
created that loop myself of always anticipating blah, but it's getting easier. It's getting easier. I'm kind of taking some advice from some of the techno pagans from back in the late 90s.
I can actually share one of the most awkward things was I was interviewing a guy about some black ops programs and things, and he was divulging some pretty sensitive information, and then my entire laptop screen just went white. Like the whole thing went white. I could hear the guest. He could apparently still see me, but I had no control over my own channel, my own screen, or anything anymore. So like there is also the aspect where they do try to mess with some of us trying to put these messages out there, the censorship as you alluded to, the things that are beyond our control. So it really is one of those things. It's almost a loose harvest of its own. And if you don't roll with the punches in the proper way, you're going to get the adverse effects of sending out the angry negative energy because you took the bait. and you absolutely didn't. And I think that right off the hop is a valuable lesson for anybody that listens to this is, there are triggers in the third density. There are things that are put right in front of you. There are obstacles that are going to piss you off. And you have to keep it always in mind that in order to create consciously and be in somewhat control of your own reality is stepping over those obstacles or just passing through that energy like it doesn't affect you. And that's one of the most valuable things I think everybody should learn.
Mm. Thoughtful response instead of emotional reaction. Just yeah, I had an interesting experience the other day. As spiritual people, we kind of like expect, oh, am I not going anywhere? Am I not ascending? Or why aren't things manifesting? Why am I still like stressing about bills and whatnot? But I decided to change up the kitchen cabinets where things were stored. So certain things are closer to the fridge, blah, but make things more efficient, a little more feng shui. And during moving some things, it's a lot of stuff. And it kind of like the clutter, the energetic clutter of all these little bottles, million ice cream toppings. That's my jam. I love ice cream toppings. If you're going to do it, go all the way. So moving stuff, one fell, smashed a plate that was actually one of the only fine china plates that we have, back from getting married. It's like, oh, do you ever eat off the nice plates? And my intention was, hey, why not use like every day is a special occasion if you make it one. I decide every day is my birthday. Like I'm a new me every day. It's a new sun. It's not the same sun rising. Like that's my perspective. So the old me would have gotten super meltdown. Like, oh my gosh, now the set is like, oh no. But I didn't. I just kind of looked at it and smiled. I was like, really? Because you make the effort to try to change things to make it flow easier in your life. And then it's like, okay, and I just kind of looked at it and I was like, well, it didn't shatter. I actually did end up gluing it back together. It's fine. It's fine. Because I realized in my life, thought back to the, previous versions of me with the anger and the frustration. And gee, you know what? You've broken a lot of dishes back in the day with no problem smashing things. What makes this plate so different from all the other broken dishes? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of funny. Like teachable moment, but it gave me that awareness of, hey, look at me. It's just a plate. Like
Yeah.
who cares what it cost or its perceived value of being, fine china or whatever, but it's fine. And the Egyptians used to, repair pottery and clay with gold and silver. So to repair it, so the crack actually became valuable and symbolic of, hey, things may get broken and shattered at times, but you can always put it back together in a stronger, more valuable way. So that's kind of my experience. So yeah, the energy lately is really breaking through a ton of awareness lessons. And it's like, wow, that feels done. Like that, whatever karmic lesson burned out, learned it, it's done. It's gone. I release it.
I, exactly. And again, I have to commend your reaction to it because something I'm learning, and I want to touch on why it scares them, but we are really conscious creators. We've been told that, like, you know, things of energetic manipulation and magic and all these things and energetic projection are just nonsense, material science, what you were taught in school. But what you alluded to there, you went with the positive route of just going, really. But for a very long time myself, I would get pissed off and have the reaction. Well, then something else would happen. And then something else would happen. And it just poke and poke and poke. And I realized actually probably about 8 or 9 months ago that that's not always something else in another dimension or density messing with me. That is literally the energy I'm pulling in because now I'm pissed. Now everything around me is getting my vibration of agitation, and I'm agitating that even inanimate objects, you agitate them in molecular energy when you're projecting that emotional frequency out of you. So things are going to start to vibrate differently in your surroundings, and things are going to fall over, and the bad is going to continue if you don't stop it. It's not always an astral attack or an evil entity. Sometimes it's just you fucking with your, pardon my, messing with yourself.
No,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's that radical self-responsibility. How did I
Yeah.
create that? How did I create that? And I found that that's the easiest and most effective tool that I use when confronted with these things. And over enough time, it's rewired my, neural net of like, oh, well, this is just happening around me. It's not to me. Maybe it's not demonic. It's my higher self coming in, trying to nudge me and strengthen me to carry more light, to be able to let go of more material beliefs, expectations, desires, and dogma. That, okay, now I've released that. Okay, now that I allow space for more light to come through, more of, the divine to embody within my energy field, within my physical body. And the longer we can hold that, the longer we maintain a new level of balance, but it's elevated balance. So,
Yeah.
it feels like, as long as we stick to it, it is natural law. There's nothing to fear. It's just our own awareness of our ability to focus and to
Yeah.
make a choice on what we focus on and how do we perceive experiences that are happening around us.
Absolutely. And natural law is something I'm still siphoning through, or filtering through rather. And like, I just saw a clip the other day and it was so poignant and on point. You experience what your mind is feeding on, right? It actually does. I was doing an episode on predictive programming, but it actually relates to this too. Like, if your mind is feeding on the negative and the how my life is going wrong, and you know, I live in poverty and I have a crappy job, well, guess what you're going to experience? Like, you're feeding your subconscious, yourself, your higher self. Like, when you start saying these things to yourself, you're telling the universe, I want more of this. Hey, my life sucks. Can I have some more suck? Because that's what you're projecting. You're like, you're in that loop of like, I'm so negative, my job sucks, this, I have no money. Well, you're going to continue to have no money. It's going to continue to suck because you're telling yourself that's who you are. You're telling your higher self, I'm okay with this right now. This suck is okay because I'm living it and I'm experiencing it and there's nothing I can do about it. I've given up. I'm not a source creator. I can't do any. No. You're telling yourself this same story and you're making yourself live the loop when you're telling yourself that story. Tell yourself a different story and everything will start to change.
100%, man. Yes, yes. Because yeah, you can't because it to me, yeah, working with clients, like my biggest thing is saying that addiction problem that no one ever talks about is negative thinking. People are addicted to being angry, being triggered, wanting to fight, wanting to, because that fire, that that fight, that resistance, it's like, yes, resist, resist. And it's like, I'm so happy, and I'd be even happier if that person weren't in charge or this wasn't there. And that it's like you're really not happy if you're looking on external circumstances, then yeah, but the awareness that we create that through our mind, and discerning between the programmed matrix mind and the higher divine mind, and bringing in, and even the divine mind, for me, my trick is, always go back to take no thought, no thought, no mental, just allow the heart space, be present, and receive the signals, those little nudges from the inner being, higher self. That's how I work it. But it's amazing, this the negative mentality of everything is, must be angry clickbait. If it bleeds it leads, in the old school journalism newspaper world, like,
Yeah. And
fear sells.
oh, absolutely. Like, you look at even when I was married once before I was with Kyla, and like I would let my kids watch mediocre scary movies over the news because at least with the movie I could tell them it was pretend,
Hmm.
right? But when they're watching real people experience terrible things on the 6 o'clock news, they're looking at you like, Dad, that's not pretend, is it? And it's like, no, it's not, right? It really did differentiate. So there is that. I get it. If it bleeds, it leads, because there's that fear base in most media, like, and that actually leads into our subject. Like, the third density is full of so many distractions and stuff. It When you're going through this spiritual remembering, as Stephen calls it, awakening, whichever phrase you want to use to explain the remembering, it really is that discernment and how you can straddle both worlds, how you'll get through it. Because if you don't, you won't get anywhere in your spiritual journey. But there's also the end of it where most of us still need to have a leg in the third density and be able to, talk to normal people and live a normal 9 to 5 life, because that's the other part of this reality. It is very dualistic, right? Right now, the large majority of us are in a position where we have to work for somebody else, or we have to pay rent, or we have to, right?
Hmm.
I'd love to hear how you've been able to balance, because we were talking about this before the live started, like the difficulty of keeping a foot in each one.
Right. Right. So yeah, we had more time to chit chat ahead of time because I couldn't get the stream to her. But yeah, so for me, um, my awakening slash remembering was about 10 years ago. Things happened, physical things, but then around 2019, it was interesting that you said like you kind of dropped out of society life for a while. I did that as well. I I left my home. I didn't leave my house, but I went to go live in a cabin in the woods that we have. And I stayed there for a solid 4.5 months, like spring, summer, early fall of, I believe it, yeah, about 2019. Something was just, you know, waking up my soul. Like nothing felt right. Everything sucked. No matter, like, my life is very blessed. I have so much to be grateful for in my life. But something didn't feel right. Nothing was fulfilling. Nothing brought me joy. Like, why am I not happy? I have all the things that, oh, yeah, that's the trappings of a normal, successful life that we were told. And going away and just being in the woods and meditating and some plant medicine and philosophy and reading uh, Secret Teachings of the AJs, Manly P. Hall. I had, that I was pouring through so many books and videos on just spiritual awakening, Reiki, chakras, Hermetic laws, all of it, and just trying to figure out, well, what is it? Because I've always been an intelligent, intuitive person and also a hardworking person, but I was reaching a point in the matrix life of like, well, I've been busting my butt all these years in a career, making decent money, good working reputation, like everything's good. But understanding that after taking that time away and coming back to it, it just felt so different once you've removed yourself physically, mentally, energetically from kind of that invisible prison of expectation, routine, habit, that it really did a huge, just kind of a shift. So what do? I had to take another job. Funny enough, it manifested pretty quickly because I tried my first time with like water magic, like manifestation, hold the glass of water, the jumping timelines kind of thing, put your intention in the water and hold it and drink it in. And then I got this new job within like 3 days. I think the guy even called me 2 hours after I sent a thing in. So it was like, ooh, there's something to this kind of creating your own reality, your belief, how, our bodies are water and we can talk to it, we can program it and structure it. But yeah, it's just been for balancing though, and people get kind of freaked out sometimes because I say selfishness is not a sin. Like if I'm around third dimensional people, I'm doing an 8-hour retail shift tonight actually. And it's just and I don't dread it because I'm very present, focused in the moment. Hey, I'm the only one up here at the service desk. Phone's ringing. People want this. Someone wants a fishing license. This person's trying to return something. And it's like, I don't care. One thing at a time. No multitasking and focus on one thing at a time. I think multitasking is one of the matrix programs that really, really is unnecessary and stresses people out. But for some reason, people are so proud of so busy and I'm juggling this, and that, and blah, blah, blah. And especially women, because taking care of children and working and taking care of the home and all of it. And I now observe, I'm like, "Why are you doing this? You don't have to commit to everything." So I'll say, be selfish with your time. My personal philosophy is I commit to no more than 3 things a day, whether it's retail or it's clients or a live stream or going to visit family or doing whatever. It's like those things will absolutely happen on this day. And then that gives me room for life to happen, for things, for miracles, opportunities, lessons. So, yeah, don't overburden yourself. Don't feel obligated and be selfish about where you put your attention. And don't feel obligated just because someone asks for a favor that you don't immediately need to jump up and do everything for them because there's a value in people learning through their own struggles and their own path. And I do not cheat them of their karmic lessons.
Absolutely. And you've got me like writing notes like mad here because you're just hitting on points that I love talking about.
Oh,
Um,
love it.
and it's actually something that you were talking about that I've been experiencing lately too, is like that soul crying for knowledge. Like I'm in kind of the same boat. I walked back into my best paying job ever. I have as many hours as I want right now. Like I can go out there and get the money to get the stuff. But it just seems like in this exact moment there's so much information that I've been crying for that's being put right in front of me, but I have to commit 8 hours at least a day to this other thing that I'm committed to have this reality. Right. And it's like I totally see the parallel. It's like I want to learn, but I gotta work, right? Because I drive for a living. I drive a septic truck, right? But I drive for a living, so I have to be able to hear the GPS. So I can't even listen to an audiobook, right? But there's all of this knowledge that I'm myself is just screaming to teach me and understand. But it's like, no, you have to still be responsible because you have two other people that are you're on this journey with right now that need you too. So you can't just sit in bed and listen to books and learn like you did for 11 months either all the time. You eventually have to transition or implement your awakening and this reality, and it is a tough horse to saddle.
It is. And for me, um, it is understanding that everything that I do can be a spiritual lesson, whether it's washing the dishes or, counting change out of a register or, just anything could be if I visualize it and that I'm doing it. Hey, before I pick up the phone of this, whoever's calling for customer help, usually they want firearms. Everybody wants their ammo and whatnot. I work at a sporting goods store, so yeah. Um, a lot of good advice with preppers. That's a good sign. Again, appreciating the benefits of the third dimensional world and responsibility. So I don't resent it. And I think that's very powerful to make it easier to function no matter what our job is, as long as we find a way to make it work for us and be like, oh, hey, well, make it a game. like, oh, look at this person super angry. Oh, I'm going to make it a game to be so super cute and high vibe that I'm going to make him smile and laugh because people that show, and it works. Because it's like the Jedi mind trick. I'm just vibing. Someone, oh, well, this, I was in the other week and they couldn't help me and the blah, 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 blah. Problem, problem, problem. I'm like, no, man, I got you. I got you. Take a breath. It's fine. And then I'll do my little magic because I actually am quite adept with technology. I was kind of resist the last few years. Probably resentment from shadow banning and censorship and whatnot. But just realizing, you know, anything can be spiritual, just our beingness, our service. And something recently that came across for me as far as like the financial thing, as yeah, I recently kind of did an interview, possibly maybe going back to a full-time something related to my previous career that would be abundant, but also it's very helpful and educational for children, youth, and families, which is kind of what drew me into the whole awakening kind of storm that's 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 enveloped the globe now, and just being like, oh man, it's not just me, but taking the responsibility and realizing, hey, my thoughts, my words, my actions, my beingness of every moment when I'm around other people in other situations, that has such a huge ripple impact on them and their energy. So it became, it is an honor and a responsibility to have that awareness of the power of our words. So saying like, oh, this is so bad, I'm sorry. Like, no, I catch myself and we still let it out sometime and just be like, okay, hey, still learning, getting better, always getting better every time. It's like doing, bicep curls. Like, yeah, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep, reconnecting those neurons towards positivity, gratitude, appreciation of the lesson. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's always fine because connected to the divine. So, hey, there's nothing to worry about. Future doesn't exist, past doesn't exist. There's only the now. And when we're able to really laser focus that, hey, I'm here now, and that problem is just my imagination, or that guilty, shameful thought is a memory, not real. None of it's real. So take a breath, have some fun, and realize, stop taking it all so seriously because I tend to fall into the serious trap.
Yeah. I love that you've gotten into the words. I again, I'm writing notes as we go here, but just to stay on the words thing, I've recently found a hack, and I don't think it's manipulation. And I come at it from a place of trying to make everyone's experience more possible, positive. But I've figured out a productive way to deal with most narcissists. And that is when you have to interact with them, try to articulate what you're going to say or ask of them in a manner that makes them feel like the center of attention, or even more important, that they're solving a problem for you and get to be the hero. Because a lot of people in that mindset do have the hero complex. And again, I don't think this is being manipulative. It's literally adjusting the energies of the frequency of your voice in order to have a more positive outcome. And you simply shift the way you approach, the way you interact with people that you know have some of these tendencies, and it actually comes out to a much more joyful and productive end game in most circumstances. Like I interact with one on a very regular basis, and I've actually started to help him develop more of a personality. Um,
Yeah, you're making me yeah. Yeah, and it's not manipulation. It's speaking their language. It's getting to their frequency so they can understand. Yeah, what's that meme that says you can't speak butterfly language to caterpillar people? You
yeah,
know, it's frustrating, and you're only frustrating yourself, but having the awareness of, oh, well, this person doesn't like to be told what to do. Well, can I present something? Oh, hey, here's a thing. And do you think this will work? Instead of saying, hey, why don't you do this? hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? Have you done this before? Or like, and then, allowing someone to take ownership of it. It's their idea, their accomplishment. They're the hero.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It
That is.
just rearranging your language. Like, and I'm not saying sit there and pre-plan everything like you have to practice, but when you understand that other person's energy, you're going to get a feel for the flow of how to speak to them to get the most productive outcome of the conversation. And I think that is one of the major things. Like in this reality, that is the baseline communication that most of us have is verbalization, and everybody has their own frequency, and the closer you can come to matching the person's frequency that you're interacting with, the more productive the outcome.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And going back to the selfish thing, if it's a person that just wants to stay in the low frequency, and if I need to be there for like a few minutes to talk to them, and then I'm removing myself from them. And one time I actually bluntly said, after 10 minutes of listening to blah blah blah, boo hoo hoo, I said, you know what? I I've told you about energy. I've given you tons of free counseling and coaching since we just happen to occupy the same physical environment. And I just said, it, I'm not wallowing in your misery. Like, you're not pulling me into it. So be selfish and pull yourself out of it. Remove yourself. Again, give everybody opportunity, give them grace, forgiveness, love to their soul, their spirit guides, their angels, and say, you know what, I really want to help. And just know I have good intentions for, offering, my energetic guidance, by being the example, by living that high vibrational, loving energy is doing so much more that we don't have to feel obligated to give them a mini seminar or lecture or say, oh, here's a book or here's a video that you should watch. Like, I don't tend to do that, just because I feel like people are meant to find what's meant on their path. So unless someone specifically asks me for links or channels or books, I'll share. Generally, I'll tell people I love the Violet Flame and Saint Germain. Really was something that really opened up my world, my spirit, my soul, my flame, everything. So that was like a solid go-to. And as far as my ascended masters, I tend to, Jesus Christ and Buddha. My mother's from China, and so I had, actually had a lot of stuff, Buddhist related, growing up as a child. So I always had like an Eastern master and a Western master that I observed their teachings and things and philosophy, and for that I'm very grateful to have had that exposure as a child, because they say we chose our parents, and there's times I'm like, did I? And then but I realize where I am now, and the habits and things I've learned made me who I am, and as do the struggles. And I feel that the more darkness that we've overcome individually, the more compassion and understanding we have for those who are still not really awakened or connected to their soul power, and that we're not making fun of them or saying, oh, just a bunch of NPC sheet. Like, yeah, I get it, they get frustrating, and then I don't know, but overall I just feel so much compassion, because I remember the pain and not knowing why it was there, how to make it go away, and looking for answers, looking for a prescription, a meditation, a technique, something, when really it's inside of us. And yeah.
Oh, yeah, like I was saying off the top, like I flat out thought I was going crazy. Like I had to take a 11-month. I quit my job. I didn't even ask for a sabbatical. I There was a terrible almost accident where I almost T-boned a lady in a septic truck because my boss was screaming at me on the phone and distracted me while I was driving. And I saw the look of fear in this woman, like these are my last seconds on earth. And it's an image I will never get out of my head. And that was actually what pushed me beyond the point of being able to ignore everything. This is some advice. I'm skipping around here. This is some advice I'll give to somebody. If you start to get slow drips in your own head, don't ignore it, or you're going to get kicked out of bed. Okay, you can take the slow awakening that it's trying to feed you and look into the things that we're telling you to be discerning about, or it's all going to hit you in the head like a 2x4. And I'm speaking from experience. When it hits you in the head like a 2x4, it almost comes across like psychosis because you have so much thought, so much intelligence, so much newfound information that you sound like a raving lunatic. I'm just a heads up for those that are listening at home. Take the slow drip because you don't want to be pushed out of bed. That's the best advice I can give, because if you're straddling and you think you can just ignore it, it's not
Yeah,
going.
it's gonna be, yeah, mine hit me pretty hard
Yeah,
physically to start. Yeah, it was just like a whole, all of a sudden I couldn't do all of the things I used to do, like weightlifting and kickboxing, very active, and then just all of a sudden constant physical pain and nothing. Oh, it's fine, you don't need surgery, and spending thousands and thousands on treatments until finally, please just cut me open because this is not going away, kind of a thing. But it
yeah,
was like, yeah, I kept thinking, oh, well, it's fine. It's fine. I need to keep this job. I can't walk away from this job because it's too much money and I have vacation and I have health care. Like all the superficial matrix reasons to keep a job. And then interestingly enough, the job I had before I went away for like the spring summertime was the first time that I resigned. Like, I always gave notice, but I did resign from a job with nothing else lined up because it got to there was a situation where, there was another, it was a small office, a director, me, and another person. And the other person was like a younger millennial, didn't really understand how to plan or market, needed some direct guidance, which the boss didn't provide. So there were days when the boss would call in and say, "Oh, well, why didn't you do that yesterday?" I'm like, "Well, because I've been doing this other person's work all the time." And it was just like no accountability, no appreciation for it. And I was like, you know what? This is not the kind of job for me. And it wasn't really stupendous money or benefits, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm worth more than that. I don't want to be treated like that. And yeah, and that also happened in 2020 after I came back, manifested the job with the timeline jumping magic water. Great job, short commute, nice people. It's in my wheelhouse of skill. And then COVID, and then I had to do this whole thing to create a conference online. So I had to, interview tech vendors and update the sponsors and the registrants and the handout, like everything. I had to do everything. I was really like 15 hours a day from home. Finally, the conference is over, like early mid September, and they'd hired an office manager fairly recently into that. And I said, you know what? I'd like to take a comp day tomorrow, like whatever day it was, like after all of it was over, because it was like a 3-day virtual conference. And I said, I just, can I take a comp day? And the response was, it wasn't even like, let's talk about it or blah, blah. It was immediately, no, that wouldn't be fair to everyone else. And I was just like, oh, Barry, like that. Like, no. So I gave 4 weeks notice and I trained the new person during the COVID thing because I appreciated the work, the organization, what they did. But again, if you think that, yeah, and that's where I go into the selfish mode again. You're like, not everything's equal. And people get mad when I say that. But I put in a lot of work and a lot of time into, creating things. So I have integrity and high standards. And it was a matter of, hey, I deserve better, and let go, walk away, no fear, because each time I walked away from situations that were disrespectful to me, the divine always offered me something new and something better that's more aligned with my heart. So that's where I learned the trust and faith. And that really helped me kind of steady the balance between the two, because now I have no fear of walking away from any 3D job that doesn't work anymore.
And that is exactly on point with basically where I am right now. And it was another thing. I like sharing these revelations that I've gone through over the last couple of years because mine literally just started like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And one of the moments that was a paradigm shift for me was coming to the understanding that time is the only real commodity in this reality because even for money, it's based on your time, right? And when you get to the point of understanding that with any employer, you're choosing how much of your time you're willing to sell because we have a finite amount of time in this reality. It's a fact of these biological vessels, right? How well you take care of yourself, what you do to, we all know the basics, right? But when it comes to employment, they're not your boss. You're choosing to sell this person an allotted amount of your energy and time. Those are the only two things in this reality with any real value, right? The rest of it is all distraction. And I'm not trying to sound like a new age hippie because I'm just speaking from my understanding. Those two things are the only real commodities with any real value because at the end of your life, those are the only things that you got to truly experience. You got to experience things in time with your energy. But how much of your own time and energy you have is up to you.
Hmm. It is. Everything's a choice. Everything's a choice. And I was gonna say, I love the slow down. And that's something one of the techniques that I do. I like that it's called turtles. Yeah. Slow down. There's no rush. You're always exactly where you're supposed to be, and realize that hurry and worry is a program yeah, and I find myself, oh, I got caught up. Am I even breathing? Oh my gosh, why am I not breathing? Why am I so tense? Ooh, better kind of pull myself back into the now and realize, what's the term? Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I think that was it Army Rangers or Green Beret? It is a military term.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
So there's no need to hurry and worry because I know for me, I do not like when people pressure me for an answer now, 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 now. And the more someone is doing that, the more I'm like, nope, nope. I will let something sit, percolate, think about it, and wait for the answer. If I'm not sure, I no longer feel obligated or bullied into doing something just because someone said so, or but it's for so and so, or it's for this good cause and this and that and blah blah. And understanding that the matrix society has weaponized empathy, and people are like, oh, that's terrible, you have no empathy. It's like, sweetie, I'm like, I feel empathy all the time for everything and every being. I even hate, cutting the grass. I mean, that's how much I love life and just the energy but it's realizing that we are also energy and of the earth and of the heavens, and that we deserve to be honored, respected, and loved. And whether it's under the label of being selfish, well, there's materially selfish. I'm not materially, but like you said, your time. Time is a currency. Who do
Yeah.
I spend time with? Who am I taking time to engage with on social media or live streams? Being very like, hey, you know what? This person has something to offer and it resonates with me. And I'm not just doing things for the sake of, ooh, getting my name and business out there so I can go viral and I can be this and that. And I have all these really neat abilities and blah, 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 blah. There's enough of that on the internet. And so for me, because there's time, and that's why I love my husband so much. He doesn't pressure, or, oh, where's this, or how much money you bringing in, or did you do this yet? It's fine. I'm like, it's already done. I've been creating this for years. Finding my tribe, finding a community of like-minded people who are doing it out of love and respect for humanity and energy, and just not doing it for the numbers in a bank account because Yeah, I do
Well,
who said that? I don't remember who said, like, I do magical work for magical pay. So that's fine. Because some of the
absolutely.
work that we do in the spirit realm, like lately with sleeping, the dreams I've been having, the adventures, the side quests are off the charts lately. And yeah, so our bodies will be physically a little bit more tired at times because when we are asleep, we are doing so much, so much. And again, our bodies are changing and integrating so much more light, and that's going to take a physical toll. Let yourself rest, let yourself, drink some more water, you know whatever you
I
need to do to self-soothe.
I would say that's a whole other show, and in the fortuitous manner of this universe, we actually have one coming up on Friday because that's another subject I could spend another hour talking about, and I know you are limited today, right? But those two things you just mentioned, absolutely want to talk to you one to one again on Friday about them because I have stories we'll dish, and
uh,
it's be a good conversation because that could be a whole thing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, same. I love stories, and I love, making the concepts of spirituality, metaphysics, make it practical, that it's you don't need to be a guru, or you don't need to, totally change your diet and your lifestyle, and you don't need to cut off all the people in your life. You don't need to do anything other than go within and start understanding that you deserve more, and cultivating that love for every aspect of yourself, even the shadows. Integrate them, love what they've offered you. And so I think that's really an important piece for straddling between two worlds, is learning to love yourself and be your own bestie, and be okay with being alone at times, because you're never truly alone. We've got our higher self, we've got our angels and elementals and galactics, and all sorts of wonderful energy. So, and
Yeah.
again, it's just perspective and time. And yeah, and I appreciate you saying it. Yeah, I signed up for an 8-hour shift to help someone out. But again, that was my choice, because I felt drawn, like, hey, I meet all kinds of people during the day. And just by making someone smile, like, there's a lot of people who are extremely lonely and extremely depressed. And if, again, spiritual service can be done in any action, any job, anything. There's no solid definition of here's how you're a spiritual person.
Um, I gotta say, I've actually been catching myself. Like, I do live with my shadow. I live with my ego. We all have one. But when I catch myself thinking something offhand, I'll be like, "Oh, you're bad." Like, I actually have that conversation in my head, and sometimes I'll even say it and giggle, like, "Oh, that was bad," right? And
Uh,
it's acknowledging that we all do have that dark side that needs to pop
yeah.
out and just be an a hole every now and then,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Oh my gosh, I love my child. Like, yes, come on, like, let me watch some dark stuff here and there. Like, it's
Yeah,
fine, because especially with entertainment, there's always things you can learn. Like, you
yeah,
can learn how to battle certain things just by the clues and the symbolism, and or the songs that they use in some of the but yeah, I learned a lot. I've been watching a lot of older things, rewatching like Twin Peaks and Buffy, and there's so many concepts. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense with understanding now, like the archetypes and natural law, and the forces, and just like, wow, okay, it's all intention." So
yeah.
nothing's truly evil, like, but wisdom is the power.
I'm getting the privilege of watching my wife experience the Indiana Jones series for the first time. And I'm trying to walk her through, like, hey, get past the trauma of the movie and look at the information hidden in these. Because exactly what you're saying, there is nuggets in most major blockbuster movies, but it's surrounded by like car crashes and explosions. And in the case of Indiana Jones, snakes and giant boulders. And you're pumped up, so you get that dopamine smash and you forget about everything you just heard that you were supposed to learn, right?
Mhm.
It's a weird little cycle. Like, yeah, they have to show you, but they can surround it by distraction, just like this reality.
Yeah, and when you're focused on learning Like, yes, I wanna learn all that little esoteric hidden lessons, and rewatching Twin Peaks, like, blew my mind. It was also the first time my husband ever watched it, and he was just so into it, and he remembered back when it was, like, originally. He's like, "Oh, that's so dumb and boring because it's very narrative driven, it's dialogue, it's not all car crashes, stabby, stabby, shoot, shoot stuff."
Yeah.
And, yeah. Yeah, so there's so many topics, Don. I love that you were able to pop on today and join me as I, get
Um,
initiated into live streaming.
Something I want to touch again on Friday, but I want to ask you because this is one that stands out. I'm certain I have had certain timeline shifts, and it's something somebody pointed out to me, and I do notice them. Do you have, knowing that you've had timeline shifts, do you ever notice personal Mandela effects? Like, I've talked to people I've known my entire life, and they'll be like, "No, it was blue." I'm like, "Bro, it was green." And they're like, "No, it was
Right.
blue." Well, the one I saw was green, but we were there at the same time. Like, it's almost like they have a different memory of the reality, or there's a Mandela effect because I've shifted something in the reality.
Yeah. Oh yeah. People would be talking about, "Oh, remember when we did that or went somewhere or did something?" I was like, "I totally don't remember being there or doing that or having that conversation with people." And I don't beat myself about it because I just use the awareness, hey, that was a different me. I didn't need to retain that memory because I feel that sometimes memory is overrated. Like it just stuffs our mind with stuff we don't need. Because my perspective is that, as long as I'm present, whatever I need to know or experience will unfold as it's supposed to be. So if I don't shame myself, oh, I forget people's names at times, even people I see quite a bit. I'm like, oh my God, I can't remember her name. Weird, but it's fine because I'm just not at their frequency. But I'm not going to beat myself up trying to memorize facts to fill my head because the more your regular mind is full of extraneous stuff like statistics of sports and this and that and blah blah blah, like memorizing dates of history, which fictional history. So it's like, yeah, I'm really enjoying the take no thought path because it's freed up a lot of stress and anxiety of trying to plan and control things that I don't need to control it. That's my ego. We're just My job is to just hang out with my ego and we just ride through life, have a good time and try to be of good service to people and give them a smile, make them feel special and valued and seen. A lot of people just want to be seen anymore because yeah,
I
they're just kind of coming into their own.
I just wrote down as you were saying this, you inspired me to write this down. Is again using Stephen's term. I love you, brother. Part of the remembering is the ability to forget the 3D filler. Right there's exactly what you're saying. There's people in our memories that no longer hold any true purpose. So they're they're like the old phone numbers you used to have memorized, right?
Mhm.
What's that? What's using that space now? Like I don't remember more than three phone numbers from when I was a kid, right? But I
Mm.
used to know about 50 or 60. Well, what's in the other 47 spaces? Well, I've filled it with esoteric knowledge. I've put other things there, right? And it really is about using your intellect for what you want it for instead of what we've been programmed to fill it with.
Yes, we can choose what we think about and what we care enough about to store and practice. And the thing is when you practice something enough, it just becomes a part of how you are being. And it's not that you need to memorize a list of here's the natural laws and I must do this at this time and I must eat that and do this and that. It's just, allowing little pieces to integrate and not be in a rush, but to definitely take the steps, like you said, so they don't get hit by the 2x4. Allow the information in. Take little steps. Step out of your comfort zone. I tell clients, go to a different grocery store. You won't know where anything is. I go to like four different stores sometimes, just depending where I'm closest to, because there's no routine, there's no habit, there's no memory. I don't know where the different departments are or what kind of brands they carry. And that's
It,
fine, because if they don't have what I want, I'll go with some other time. It's fine. But to put yourself in new situations, new opportunities for learning, give yourself grace to not be perfect the first few times. And we're all just learning and growing together. And that's what I really appreciate, the value of this conscious creators panel is the opportunity for us to share our lessons, our experiences, and ideas. Like you inspire me, and I know I hadn't gotten to speak with Spinja, but about the most recent episode you guys had uploaded, and just like, wow, just so many amazing people speaking out, sharing their stories, sharing their gifts. And I think that that's truly something momentous in the new world, is that we are the creators. We don't need to consume content necessarily. We can choose, but we can also choose to create from our hearts instead of seeking something outside of ourselves. We can connect with our family and our friends and just be like, "Hey, let's do something fun. Let's make a comic book. Let's create some music. Let's, paint something." And that's where I feel, um, that the more we focus on our creative abilities and chasing our joy is where the financial 3D stuff is collapsing, and it's not going to be a problem, because if we just keep focusing on the solution, doing what we love, and trusting that abundance is always flowing, we get magical pay for our magical service. It's there. There's a bank of abundance ready, and it's already flowing. I do believe that. And the more we create it, our creative imaginations, to bring that into manifestation, we hold our vibration, connect with others to help us maintain and raise our vibration with integrity and love. There's no
yeah,
way we could fail.
absolutely. And I just want to throw in one thing. Like you were talking about people with the pride of multitasking, and there was a time where a lot of us were striving for that. But now, if you put somebody that says, I'm this good at multitasking beside somebody that said, I went and sat in the forest for a half hour, guess who I'm jealous of? Right? I'm not jealous of the guy that's hella busy and took up his entire day doing 16 things that he hated. I want to be with the guy that didn't have his cell phone with him and went and sat in the woods and communed with nature, right? That's where we're supposed to be. And I
Mhm.
think that's one of the most fundamental things is yes, we need to balance this density, but we also need to remember that everything here is a distraction to keep us from understanding ourselves.
Yes. Constant distractions, and just pulling ourselves back, awareness of, ooh, I'm being triggered, or oh, I'm holding my breath for some reason, I'm holding some kind of tension in my body. Breathe. And at least it's enough that just the awareness, and then allowing it. If there's angry energy, or just need to let it out physically, dance, or punch something. you know um but yeah, that's all I really had to share today, was really just connecting, hearing stories about, yeah, how do we keep this balance of, you know
Ab-
between two
Oh,
worlds right now, for real. We've
oh, absolutely. And again, I think we've put out some great conversation and great information to people to chew on and mull over because, this is the entire point of it is sharing information, sharing notes, as Chris Matthew would say, right?
Mhm.
It's comparing notes. Like when we figure out where everything lines up, that's probably the closest thing to truth that we're going to understand in this reality.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I guess I shall begin concluding and pack up my snack bag for going to
Yes,
the 3D physical world. But again, like, what's nice about grounding in nature and taking the time is it makes it easier to like integrate and go into the world and not dread it and say, "Oh, I hate it. I want off this prison planet. Get me out, get me out." I believe me, I still get hit with with that at times. But opportunities to be in nature or to hear and share stories with like-minded souls is absolutely a blessing, and it's strengthening all of us. So thank you, Don, for your patience and kindness today so much. And yeah, we'll be doing our stream, and yeah, it's getting close to Memorial Day weekend. So I will try to figure out. I don't know if it's actually going to automatically end the stream or if it's going to play the closer, but that's okay, whatever it is. We're always exactly where we need to be, and may all that we do be done in love, and everything will be okay. We're always where we need to be, and we just focus on love. So thank you all so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.